Right, so looking at question 3, we're looking at two cars. We've got GPS and trackers in there. What it does is it plots how far they've travelled over certain amounts of time. So if we look at this graph, we've got the minutes, which is the time at the bottom, and the distance up the side. So if we look at this, dead simply, after 10 minutes, this car travelled 6,000 metres. So it says, use information from the graph to calculate the average speed of the van. Now again, you could look at the front, but we should know that speed is equal to distance divided by time. Now from a distance time graph, we also should know that the gradient of this graph represents the speed as well. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to work out the gradient of this line to give us a speed. Now what we need to make sure is that this time, because if you look at the answer, they want you to give this in meters per second. So if it's in meters per second, we need to make sure that the distance is in meters, which it already is, and the time is in seconds, but it's not, it's actually in minutes this time. So we need to convert the time into seconds. So what we would do is we'd do 10 times 60, and that will obviously give us 600 seconds. So within 10 minutes, there are 600 seconds. Now, the car has actually travelled 6,000 metres in 600 seconds. Put that into a calculator, or just do it with your head. It will get you 10 metres per second. Okay. Now, question B is quite simple. You've got some information, and it just wants you to add it to the graph. So at 0, at 4 minutes it's 2,000. So at 4 minutes we go up to 2,000, put across. At 7 minutes it's 3,500, so we go to 7 up to 3,500, and then finally at 10 we go to 5,000. So we can put across there. We can join the dots up with a line. Right, so we've joined that up with a ruler, and obviously we've got another line of the other car. Now, the next question says, explain how the company can use the graph. Now, it's dead important. They've put it in bold. They want to get it from the graph to show which has had the greatest average speed without doing any calculations. So it doesn't want you to do any calculations like before. It wants you just to look at this graph and figure out which car has got the highest average speed. So I said at the very beginning that the gradient of this line determines the average speed. The steeper the gradient equals the faster the car. So to start with, you need to tell the examiner that the gradient represents the speed. Okay, so that'll get you the first marking point. So you've identified the fact that it's a gradient of the line that tells you the speed of the car or the van. So the steeper the gradient, the faster the average speed, and that will be the extra marking point. Now there is another way that you could look at it. You could look at whichever car has travelled the furthest within the same amount of time. So if you look at this graph, we've got after 10 minutes, van A travelled 6,000 metres, van B only travelled 5,000. So it must have been going faster to get 1,000 metres further forward than that one.